Honestly, this is some shit you put on when there's riots in the street, when you're going to the courthouse to deal with some bullshit. This is that shit that you put on to say fuck you to the system. What is good, HipHoppas? It is Esteban Xound here with another album review. Now, before we get into anything, remember to subscribe, comment, like, and share the video. If you fuck with the videos, I appreciate everyone who subscribed to this point. Thank you. Shout out to Jhonson for requesting this album. He's like, yo, you gotta check this out. Checked it out, so appreciate it. Thank you, Jhonson, for watching the videos. And with that being said, this is the Ice Cube Everythang's Corrupt, Everythang's Corrupt album review. Going into the album, I'm a pretty big fan of Ice Cube. From his work from NWA to America's Most Wanted, to then Death Certificate, to then The Predator, to then the Lethal Injection. Even some of the War and Peace albums were dope. But definitely his first couple albums, when he came out in the late 80s, mid 80s, late 80s to early 90s, that run of Ice Cube was fucking classic. And then even some of the 2000s with Raw Footage and then Laugh Now Cry Later. I fuck with Ice Cube's discography. He's a legend. He's a legend in the game, so just off the legacy, you gotta respect it. Ice Cube's always been a voice for the voiceless. His music has always been politically charged, and that's something that I've always admired about Ice Cube, is he's always taken a political stance in his music. When a lot of artists wouldn't take that opportunity, wouldn't take their voice to say anything, Ice Cube's always been that voice to say something. And we happen to share the same birthday, which is pretty fucking dope. But surprisingly, honestly, going into this album, I wasn't expecting much. And the reason why was because Ice Cube's already solidified in the game. So anything that's added to his discography at this point is really just extra for me. Anything that's dope on top of whatever he's already put out, it's like, okay, this is great, but I'm already happy with what I got from Ice Cube. So going into the album, I was like, sure, I want to hear some dope music, but whatever this is gonna be, it can't take away from Ice Cube's legacy. So I was like, all right, let's see what we're gonna get from this. My first impressions, honestly, I was pretty happy with what I got. The sound of the album was consistent. Ice Cube's political and social commentary was there, and lyrically, Ice Cube delivers. And after a few listens, honestly, the album stayed around the same likability for me. My favorite tracks: Arrest the President. Ice Cube opens up with his classic political statements. Or the second track is always a hard-ass track. He opens up with a political statement against Donald Trump, which is a great way to get all the ears and eyes to be like, yo, fuck this guy. So it's a dope way to open it up that way. The beat is hard, the guitars, the trumpets really exaggerate the message. Don't bring me no bag. Ice Cube goes in on rappers that celebrate the trap life, celebrate dirty money, getting a bag. You know, everybody talks about getting that bag. Well, let's get the bag, let's get the bag. I'm even guilty of saying that shit. I'm always like, yo, let's get the bag, gotta get the bag. But Ice Cube's really saying, nah, man, just get you some clean money, get you an envelope. You know what I mean? He clearly states, don't bring me no bag, I want an envelope. So he's not with the dirty money, and he calls out rappers. So he's also calling out the political system, but he's also calling out rappers, and I appreciate that shit. So he takes responsibility for both sides, and I appreciate that shit. And the trap instrumental just drives the point even further. It's like, okay, I can rap over one of your type beats. On Them Pills, another dope track where Ice Cube's calling out the state of hip-hop and society in general. He claims that motherfuckers are on them pills, and honestly, they are. Everybody's on pills and shit. So, hey, Ice Cube's just calling it how it is. The beat is hyped up. It's one of my favorite instrumentals on the album. Dope track. Shed Tears. Ice Cube talks about his death and the result of his death in a really real way. I mean, he claims that if he passes away, the streets are gonna shed tears, and they probably will. I know if Ice Cube passed away today, I would definitely feel some type of way. Like I would probably shed a tear or two, I won't lie. So it's true what Ice Cube's saying. And honestly, the beat's soulful. It's soulful. It matches the energy of the track. Really like this track. Number 9, Ain't Got No Haters. This is the one track with the one feature from Too Short. He gets him to rap over this smooth instrumental, very West Coast. And Ice Cube claims that he has no haters. He's got no haters, which I don't know how true that is. I'm sure there's an Ice Cube hater somewhere around in the world. I mean, it's a positive outlook in life, so I like that shit. Can you dig it? Ice Cube reminisces over the 70s, 80s, and 90s. and he goes over some of the cultural influences of each time. It's a dope approach to history, which was cool to see Ice Cube take this kind of approach while paying homage to the past. The intro is hilarious from the movie Airplane, and honestly the beat's one of my favorites on the album. That new Funkadelic, off the bat, yo, the Knee Deep sample by Funkadelic, Parliament Funkadelic, I was like, I know I'm gonna fuck with this. It's a dope West Coast track. It's on some lowrider shit, it's some party shit, it's some new funk shit. It's honestly, it's one of my favorite tracks on the album, and the video will be some shit that you put on when you're high as fuck on some shrooms or weed. The video's crazy for this. Check it out if you haven't checked it out. 15, Everythang's Corrupt. This is one of the first singles I heard like way back. Ice Cube goes over the corrupt justice system and political system and the funding of corrupt politicians. Again, the beat's really like in your face. It's hitting you with those hard synths, the hard guitar, and it's one of the two closing political statements on the album. Dope. Good cop, bad cop. Ice Cube goes over the dynamic of white police and black police, good cops, bad cops, and just the police force in general and how corrupt it is. And I can really relate to that shit because, I mean, I ain't got no beef with the cops, but fuck the cops. It's just the system, you know what I mean? So I think we can all kind of relate to that sentiment. And I felt it was an appropriate closer for the album. And the video for this shit is super dope. It's like on some movie shit. My least favorite tracks, Bad Dope. Honestly, the beat felt a little too simplistic for me. Ice Cube compares himself to Bad Dope, and I don't know how to feel about that comparison. It was just one of the weaker tracks. Firewater, it feels like a reach to be like somewhat ignorant on the album. I get it. I mean, it's cool that Ice Cube thinks he's gonna die of the good life. That's a dope way to go out, but I don't really like the message on this track. Overall, honestly, this is some shit you put on when there's riots in the street, when you're going to the courthouse to deal with some bullshit. This is that shit that you put on to say fuck you to the system. And I think Ice Cube delivers classic Ice Cube with updated beats and updated social commentary on this album. If you're watching Ice Cube, keep delivering tracks with social and political commentary. That's what we come to you for, and that's what I hope to listen to when I get an Ice Cube album. Keep updating the formula as far as like same dopeness as far as the content, but just updated beats. And keep giving us those classic West Coast bangers too. I mean, we like that shit too. And honestly, keep being a voice for the voiceless. We love you for that shit, and that's what we come to you for. And we get that on this album, so I appreciate that shit. Thank you. If I was to give this a rating, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. And this is definitely HipHop certified. Shouts out to Ice Cube for a dope album. Really solid piece of work. And that's pretty much all I got to say on this one. Yes.